Welcome to Top 10 Greatest Men's Tennis Player of All Time. Please subscribe and like. Thank you. Because it is difficult to compare players of different eras in any sport due to technology changes and higher fitness standards, selecting the greatest player ever can be a difficult and very subjective task. One thing most fans can agree on is that we are currently witnessing three of the greatest ever in Roger Federer, Rafael Nadal, and Novak Djokovic. Despite the challenge, here's the list of the 10 greatest male tennis players of the Open era, 1968 to present. Also included 11 players here with two greats tied for the 10th position. 10. Ken Rosewall. With a long career that included both the pre- and post-Open era, Ken Rosewall certainly deserves a place among the all-time greats of tennis. Career prize money of $1,602,700 million, 133 career titles. 8 Grand Slam singles titles, 4 Australian, 2 French, 2 US Open, 2 US Pro, 5 Wembley Pro, 8 French Pro. Inducted into Tennis Hall of Fame, 1980. His 8 Grand Slam titles combined with 15 major championships undoubtedly qualifies Rosewall a place in tennis immortality. With a career that started in the early 1950s and ended with his retirement in 1980, the quick and agile Aussie was renowned for his backhand and crisp and accurate volleying. His last Grand Slam title came at the 1972 Australian Open at the age of 37, still a record for the oldest Grand Slam winner. Witnessing Ken Rosewall play during the latter part of his career and at the time probably did not realize the greatness we are watching. To compete at his age with the next generation of tennis greats speaks volumes to his conditioning and mental toughness. He has been placed in the 10th position along with Andre Agassi as because both players are worthy of a top 10. 10. Andre Agassi. Who can forget the young, brash, long-haired Andre Agassi when he first arrived on the tennis scene in the late 1980s? You have to admit that at first was put off by his seemingly rock-star looks and attitude, but with career prize money of $31,152,975. 61 career titles. 8 Grand Slam singles titles, 4 Australian, 1 French, 2 US Open, 1 Wimbledon. Olympic gold medalist 1996. Inducted into Tennis Hall of Fame, 2011. But something happened along the way, and by the time he finished his 20-year career, you not only became a fan also come to respect him as a great player and spokesman for the game. With those killer ground strokes and returns of serve, no top 10 list would be complete without Andre Agassi. Off the court, Agassi has proven to be a champion as well. There may be no athlete out there who does more for their community than Agassi and his wife, tennis legend Steffi Graf. 9 John McEnroe. John McEnroe, what do we do about Johnny Mac? Well, for starters we include him on our list of all-time greats. When it came to hard courts, fast surfaces, and creative shot-making, there may have been no one better with career prize money of $12,547,797. 105 career titles. 7 Grand Slam singles titles, 3 Wimbledon, 4 US Open. Inducted into Tennis Hall of Fame, 1999. His fiery attitude and occasional bad boy behavior made tennis fans either hate him or love him. Underneath was a highly competitive athlete who hated to lose and sometimes let his emotions get the best of him. Who can forget his epic battles with rival Jimmy Connors and his 5-set loss to Bjorn Borg in the 1980 Wimbledon final, one of the greatest matches in Wimbledon history? 8 Jimmy Connors. No one dominated tennis more during the mid-1970s than Jimmy Connors. In 1974 alone, Connors had a staggering 99-4 record and won the 3 Grand Slam tournaments that he entered. Connors was banned from playing in the French Open in 1974 due to his association with World Team Tennis, and this prevented him from a possible Grand Slam sweep. Despite peaking in the 1970s, with career prize money of $8,641,040, 8 Grand Slam singles titles, 1 Australian, 2 Wimbledon, 5 US Open. Inducted into Tennis Hall of Fame, 1998. Connors had a long and impressive tennis career, retiring in 1996. Connors still holds the record for ATP Tour titles with 109. 7 Ivan Lendl. The quiet and stoic Czech with the big serve was the most dominant player of the 1980s. Lendl wore down his opponents with his powerful ground strokes, top-spin forehand, and incredible level of conditioning, with career prize money of $21,262,417, 144 career titles. 8 Grand Slam singles titles, 2 Australian, 3 French, 3 US Open. Inducted into Tennis Hall of Fame, 2001. He was the world's top-ranked player for 4 years, and held the #1 ranking in the world for 270 weeks, a record in that day. In contrast to many of his more outspoken peers, Lendl was known for letting his game do his talking. 6. Bjorn Borg. What was not to love about the long-haired, blonde Swede with the killer ground game? With ice water in his veins, the quiet Borg dominated tennis in the late 1970s and had some memorable matches with the likes of John McEnroe and Jimmy Connors. Borg dominated Wimbledon, winning the title 5 consecutive years from 1976 to 1980, with career prize money of $3,655,751. 101 career titles. 11 Grand Slam singles titles, 6 French, 5 Wimbledon. Inducted into Tennis Hall of Fame, 1987. Despite his relatively brief career, he retired in 1983 at the age of 26. Borg won 11 Grand Slam titles, all at Wimbledon and the French Open. Borg was the first player of the modern era to win more than 10 majors. In my book, Bjorn Borg could have been a top 5 all-time had he continued to play and not retired while seemingly in the prime of his career. 5. Pete Sampras. Pete's place in tennis history is difficult to judge as he only won 3 of the 4 Grand Slam events over the course of his career. Clearly more comfortable on hard courts and grass. How do we decide one's place when they dominate on one surface and struggle on another? When Pete retired in 2002, with career prize money of $43,280,489. 64 career titles. 14 Grand Slam singles titles, 2 Australian, 7 Wimbledon, 5 US Open. Inducted into Tennis Hall of Fame, 2007. He was considered to be the best player of all time, although some would dispute this. He was #1 in the world rankings for 6 consecutive years, and his 14 Grand Slam titles was a record at the time. Who can forget his epic battles with Andre Agassi that made the 1990s a great decade for tennis? Pete went out on top when he won the 2002 US Open, his last Grand Slam tournament. But, without a French Open title, or even a final, how do we decide where he belongs in the list of best ever? For now he comes in at the #5 spot. 4. Rod Laver. It's difficult to assess how Rod Laver would have fared against the players of today, but I suspect the red-headed Aussie would have done just fine. It's hard to argue with the Rocket's record. He was ranked #1 in the world for 7 straight years, 1964 to 1970, and has more career titles, 200, than anyone in the history of the game. Career prize money, $1,565,413. 200 career titles. 11 Grand Slam singles titles, 3 Australian, 2 French, 2 US Open, 4 Wimbledon. 9 Pro Slam singles titles, 3 US Pro, 4 Wembley Pro, 1 French Pro, 1 Wimbledon Pro. Inducted into Tennis Hall of Fame, 1981. He is the only player to have twice won the Grand Slam, doing it once as an amateur in 1962 and again as a pro in 1969. If Laver was not excluded from the Grand Slam tournaments during a 5-year period in the mid-1960s, who knows how many he would have won. During this time period, the pre-Open era, the Grand Slam tournaments were for amateurs only. The Open era in tennis did not begin until 1968, when professionals were finally allowed to compete in the Grand Slam events. Given that Laver was ranked #1 in the world during this 5-year period, it's likely he would have won many more Grand Slam titles. 3 Novak Djokovic. Placing Novak Djokovic on this list was an easy decision, but where to place him was not. At 33 years of age and in the late prime years of his career, Djokovic is clearly the best player in the world at the moment and has the potential to win many more Grand Slam titles. With 17 Grand Slam titles already under his belt, with career prize money of $143,159,599. 81 career titles. 17 Grand Slam singles titles, 8 Australian, 5 Wimbledon, 3 US Open, 1 French Open. Current active player. He certainly has the potential to surpass Nadal's and Federer's total of 20. But, in the highly competitive world of tennis, he could also succumb to injury and miss out on some of his best remaining years, so the jury is still out on his ultimate place in tennis history. Based on his body of work to date, he has certainly made the case that he is deserving of a top 3 all-time. With his 2016 French Open title, Djokovic became the 8th man to secure a career Grand Slam. His dominating performance at the 2020 Australian Open and his epic 5-set win against Roger Federer at the 2019 Wimbledon Championship makes it clear that Djokovic is the best player in the world at the moment. But, is his body of work to date, and his status as the current #1 enough to grant him greatest of all time status? Time will tell, but for now we place Djokovic at number 3 all-time. 2. Rafael Nadal. Were it not for the recurring tendinitis in his knees and wrist injuries, Rafael Nadal may well have a few more Grand Slam titles to his already impressive resume. At 34 years of age, the fiery Spaniard, known as Rafa and the King of Clay, already has 20 Grand Slam titles and certainly has the potential to pass Roger Federer. Rafael is regarded as the greatest clay court player of all time, with career prize money of $121,044,734. 86 career titles. 20 Grand Slam singles titles, 1 Australian, 13 French, 4 US Open, 2 Wimbledon. 2008 Olympic gold medalist, Beijing Summer Olympics. Current active player. Although fans of Bjorn Borg may dispute this claim, his record 13th French Open title in 2020, in dominating fashion, certainly makes it difficult to imagine anyone being better on clay. While it is difficult to draw comparisons of players from different generations, Nadal has proven that he deserves to be considered among the best to ever grace the courts. His 2020 French Open title gives Rafa 20 Grand Slams championships and ties him with Roger Federer for most Grand Slams of all time. This will only heighten the debate as to who is the true GOAT. 1. Roger Federer. It's hard not to select Roger Federer as the greatest of all time. His 20 Grand Slam titles and 310 weeks ranked number 1 speak for themselves, and even at the age of 39, he is still winning and competing at the highest levels. From 2004 to 2008, Federer went 237 consecutive weeks being ranked number 1 in the world, a record that may never be surpassed, with career prize money of $129,946,683. 103 career titles. 20 Grand Slam singles titles, 6 Australian, 1 French, 5 US Open, 8 Wimbledon. Current active player. It's hard not to select Roger Federer as the G. Even though younger players are now finding a way to beat him, his consistently high level of play over his 20-year career is a testament to his conditioning and ability. Winning the 2018 Australian Open after his outstanding 2017 season that saw him win Wimbledon and the Australian Open prove without a doubt that Roger Federer is indeed the greatest of all time. Barring injury, Roger will continue to be a force to be reckoned with for who knows how long? His dramatic 5-set loss to Novak Djokovic at the 2019 Wimbledon Championship proves that even at almost 38 years of age that he can still compete with anyone. Roger certainly had his chances to secure a Grand Slam number 21. A loss that will haunt him with limited opportunities remaining, but he is setting a new level for excellence at an age when most players have long since retired. If you disagree with the list, please comment down below. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the notification bell and like for more videos. Thank you for watching.